that's what's happening. Cold outside. So I'm holed up here in the man cave with natural heat today. Natural heat. Sun shining on the garage doors. You get the brown aluminum garage doors, and they radiate the heat right into this place. Makes it quite comfortable. Well, anyways, some of you guys have questioned me before about my flyers on the wall. I've got some Hell's Angels stuff up here. I'm not affiliated with the club in any way, shape, or form. I don't back them or support them really. These flyers are pretty much souvenirs that I collected back during my time at the biker club. What did I see if they get any data? Well, this is 2002, this one right here. They're all, this 2014 on this one. So they're old, outdated things that I've had for years. But I guess, the reason that I have them there was because as a kid, I had this infatuation with a motorcycle club. And I probably told you the story before, but it started when I was a young boy. I had a bicycle, with the banana seat and the high handlebars. They weren't really, ape hangers, but, they were a little higher than the standard. And it had a 3-speed shifter on it. And I would ride probably about a mile to the nearest park. And ride up there and ride around the park and then come back home. I rode up to the park one day by myself on the bicycle, and there on a picnic table in the wooded area was a magazine. Well, curiosity got to me, and I went over there and I looked at the magazine, and it was titled something like The True Detective, I believe, something of that nature. And just out of interest, curiosity, I flipped through the pages. There was an article right away about an 1% motorcycle club. A bunch of outlaws that had kidnapped this young woman and taken her off across the country on a renegade spree. Well, the detectives were on the hot tail of them trying to track them down, and I guess as the story went, they found out later that the woman actually went with them willingly, and she was unwilling to leave the club when they finally did catch up with her. So it wasn't much of a kidnap as it was first suspected. But that's the way the story went, and I read the story. So as I got on my bicycle and rode home, I had this imagination going on that I was riding in a motorcycle club, and I was the lead of the pack, and I'm going down the road, and I had 100 motorcycles behind me, and I was the leader. Little did the guy know that left the magazine on the table what an impression he would leave on a young boy that day. You never know some of the actions you do in your life, how they affect other people down the road. And back in those days, as a child, and being my mom and dad had no biker influence at all. They none of them, nobody in my family rode motorcycles. The Hell's Angels were like the bad gang, the bad motorcycle gang, the Hell's Angels. And those were sometimes portrayed, in movies or you heard stories on the news, but didn't really know much about it in that time and period. But there was an incident, surprisingly, that was pretty close to where I lived. There was a war going on between the two clubs, and one of the clubs was the Hells Angels. I believe the other club was called the Breed. Anyway, there was a farm about a mile away, but maybe a little more than a mile away from our house. there was a farm, and the breed had decided they were going to have a war with the Hells Angels, and they all gathered on this farm. I guess they didn't give the farmer much choice. I don't know what his relationship was to the club, to the breed, but he allowed them to come in and set up camp in one of his back fields. And there was hundreds of bikers that came there. They rode in from all over, and they, with their choppers and all their different models, and they pulled in there and they set up their tents all over this field. And it became big news at the time that there was going to be a biker war right in our rural community. Well, as it turned out, the Hells Angels never did show up. But we were warned strictly, you're not to go anywhere near there. You're to stay away from there. Well, like kids, again, we got on our mini bike and we rode all the way up there and came in through the back. We knew all the trails, all the roads, all the little cul-de-sacs, and we made our way up, and we came in through the back of the property, coming through the woods, came out in the field. We actually rode through their encampment and rode back home. Now, the bikers that were there camping, they didn't seem fazed by it one bit. I mean, for all they knew, we were probably related to somebody that was camping there. They just kind of, waved at us as we rode by, and that was that. But again, my infatuation for a motorcycle club, and as a kid, no fear, like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? It's just a bunch of motorcyclists over there. Let's go check it out. All right, let's go. And zoom, off we went, and it was harmless. Thankfully, it was harmless. I mean, could it have gotten ugly? Perhaps. Especially if the Hells Angels would have showed up at that time and minute. It could have been really bad. But anyway, the whole situation was diffused, and nothing ever became of it. As time went on, and I really had a big interest in motorcycles at that point, and I continued to gain my way into the biker world, the biker culture, and I did ride with a 1% club at one time. I never joined the club, was never a member, wasn't really even a prospect. I was just what they call a tag along. I was invited to ride along with them. And over the years, I had a lot of influence and met a lot of people, including outlaw motorcycle riders. And I keep saying outlaw because now there is a club in Ohio here called the Outlaws. They're a nationally known club, a 1% club, a big, large club. And surprisingly, I did hang with them at one time. They're all a bunch of nice guys, nothing wrong with that. But, I guess there's animosity between the Outlaws MC and the Hells Angels MC. So, I wasn't taking sides. It just was a fluke that I ended up being in that place at that time. As time went on, I did get a full membership to Rolling Thunder, which is not an outlaw motorcycle club. It's legit, and it's basically supports the Vietnam veterans, the veterans of war, the MIA, the wounded in action, all of our veterans, and it was a great cause for me to support that, and I did that for many years until. Well, I won't go into any details, but I think it's the same with every club. You get personalities in there that are all different, and many are good, but there's a few bad apples. And unfortunately, the bad apples were thrown my way, and I decided it was time to move out. My experience over the years with any 1%ers has never ended well. I had been pretty good friends with a 1% Hells Angel from out west. And he was a very rough and tumble, rugged guy. He was part Cherokee Indian, and him and I were like really good friends. But again, things took a turn, and it got a little ugly, and I had to get out while the getting was good. Let's put it that way. And that was pretty much the end of my infatuation with being affiliated in any way, shape, or form with any kind of outlaw motorcycle club. So today, I ride independently. I ride alone. I don't have any compadres that I hang out with. I don't have any clubs that I'm tight with. I am still in contact with some of the people from the Rolling Thunder that I was a part of, but other than that, I don't really have any connection or affiliation there anymore. So that is my story about why I have, Hell's Angels flyers on the wall in my man cave. It's just kind of a nostalgia thing for me. Kind of reminds me of my childhood and how I got started into the motorcycle thing, and why my interests were there. I don't know, but it was just something that grew on me, that once I got a taste of it, I just couldn't get enough, and I just wanted more. Is that feeling of sitting behind these handlebars and going down the road and feeling the wind and the freedom. It's like flying. I mean, it's exhilarating, You know what they say, the saying is, if I had to explain it to you, you wouldn't understand. It's something that you have to experience. Well, thanks for listening to my story today. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd like to have you join us. Until next time, cats, ride hard and die free.